Developments in advanced AI have formed the basis for many sci-fi, blockbuster-worthy plots, but the progress we are making with artificial intelligence could suggest these, quite frankly, frightening societies are not as far away as you might think. The modern world has a much stronger reliance on technology than we could have ever imagined, and soon enough, the technology could be more self-sufficient than we could have ever dreamt of. Some think AI is a dangerous field to develop, while others think it is a key to success. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we will be taking a look at 3 recent AI advancements. Police robots keep malfunctioning. One popular role given to robots entering the workforce is that of police officers, replacing human officers with autonomous robots designed to patrol the streets, allowing people to report threats, share community reminders against littering, alongside other functions. Whatever your opinions are on AI joining the workforce, it is fair to say the robot police officers have not exactly had a smooth transition. Knightscope is perhaps the largest company to produce these allegedly crime-solving robots, introducing them to the world through both police departments and private companies. Knightscope's force of officers are egg-shaped domes that roll around, acting as surveillance, among other tasks. As of 2020, there were more than 50 Knightscope police robots in the US, with each one being rented out at $7 an hour, which brings the annual cost up to somewhere between $60,000 and $70,000, certainly a higher figure than that of the average human US police officer's annual salary. These robots are kitted out with AI, cameras, GPS, lasers, and thermal sensors, all tools aiding them to keep a tab on their surroundings, report incidents, and overall help to somewhat fulfill the role of a police officer, though things have not gone entirely to plan. Over the years, Knightscope has received a fair amount of criticism, from robot malfunctions to controversial programming, to some fairly humorous blunders. Regardless as to what these events have been, Knightscope has deemed them outliers, backing their, at best, clumsy robots. One police bot adopted into the police department of Huntington, California, told a woman to step out of the way when she attempted to report a fight that had broken out in a public park. Although the Knightscope robots are fitted with an emergency alert button, the bot, according to NBC News, failed to contact the correct people at the Huntington Police Department, and instead made its way rolling down the path, playing cheering music, pausing every so often to repeat the phrase, "Please keep the park clean." The chief of the Huntington PD offered the explanation that the bot was in a testing period at the time, and the emergency button was wrongly contacting the Knightscope headquarters, not 911 or the police department. This error was pinpointed to an incorrect calibration, a one-off blunder that should not occur in the future. Back in 2017, another Knightscope robot intended to be used as office security rolled itself into a fountain in Washington, D.C. One Twitter user commented, "We were promised flying cars, instead we've got robots that want to take themselves out." The security robot had rolled down some steps, tipping forwards into a fountain. It is unclear if the water damage was fatal. This particular robot had been nicknamed Steve and had become a familiar face around the office, earning himself a memorial at his charging pad. Knightscope, in a so-called official statement, said that Steve had found out that humans can take a dip in the water in this heat, but robots cannot. Another robot had an unfortunate run-in, this time with a human. In Mountain View, the robot lost a fight with a man who was drunkenly knocking the egg-shaped robot right outside the Knightscope campus. He tipped the robot over and was charged with public drunkenness. On a more serious note, one of these Knightscope robots, clocking in at a whopping 300 pounds, rolled over the foot of a 16-month-old toddler who was standing in its way in the Stanford shopping center. Knightscope referred to this event as a freakish accident, explaining that the robot was aiming to avoid the toddler, but that the child had run into the front of the machine. The company apologized to the family of the child, though hopefully some updates have been made to prevent similar problems from arising again. Perhaps one of the more controversial incidents with the Knightscope AI police was a robot blocking homeless people from sitting outside of the San Francisco Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals and encroaching on public pavements without a permit. Both these events earned Knightscope some harsh criticism from the public. Overall, it is clear to see that if police robots are going to be adopted into the force, then they need a great deal of work and are no replacement for human officers anytime soon. Google AI learned to keep secrets from humans. Robots learning to communicate in secret codes that we cannot understand is a frightening concept, one that many would say is the start of a potential robot uprising or end-of-world themed movie. What is more frightening, however, is that companies are actively encouraging these secret, whispering robots. This is a somewhat terrifying concept, though inarguably a huge breakthrough in cryptography, and with a rather impressive experiment at that. Until this 2016 experiment, AI was not deemed successful with cryptography. Researchers with Google Brain told two smart computers to speak to one another in secret, have each other know what they are saying, while keeping the message hidden from a third smart computer in a paper entitled Learning to Protect Communications with Adversarial Neural Cryptography. The AI, named Alice, Bob, and Eve, were assigned these various roles. Alice had the original text, or the secret. She had to encrypt it, make it appear as nonsense, and send it to Bob to understand and read, all without letting Eve in on the secret. Eve was aiming to recreate Alice's message with as few errors, as closely as she could. Alice was not given any set encryption method to use, simply assigned the task. The AI were partially successful to begin with. Bob and Alice figured out the encryption and could communicate clearly with one another through the shared key, though Eve was puzzling it out along the way too. After 10,000 attempts, Bob and Alice were able to thwart Eve's efforts at cracking the cipher, and by 15,000 she was no longer proficient in cracking the code. Bob and Alice were able to share encrypted information with one another through odd, unexpected techniques, certainly not techniques that would have been human-generated. Researchers have deemed the key to these AI neural networks maintaining their secret is placing a great deal of value on security. These robots prove that someday AI will be able to communicate and function in a way that hides information not only from one another, but from us humans too. Artificial intelligence used on army operation for the first time. The Ministry of Defence issued the statement in July 2021 that the British Army used AI successfully for the first time during Exercise Spring Storm in Estonia. This groundbreaking use of AI gave soldiers from the 20th Armoured Infantry Brigade information on the surrounding environment and terrain. Artificial intelligence was able to sort through huge volumes of complicated data very efficiently and quickly, through smart analytics and significant automation, according to the UK government's website. This helps the army to plan the best course of action based on the information given, presenting more accurate and efficient options, with the choices for it to be used on either independent mode or in the cloud. The Army's Director of Information, Major General Jonathan Cole, explained that this AI was the first like this to be used in the Army. He elaborated, saying it was developed with the Ministry of Defence and other industry partners specially to perform this function in the Army, aiming to help support deployed forces and to widen how the defence digital transformation agenda is informed, meaning the methods used to make the use of this cutting-edge equipment. Prime Minister Boris Johnson announced in November of 2020 that defence will see a budget increase of over £24 billion over the next 4 years, to allow for the army to adapt to the possibility of future threats. £6.6 billion of this has been earmarked for investment in research and development of AI or technology to facilitate it, an intent outlined in the Defence Command paper. This includes AI-enabled autonomous systems, cyber, space, and directed energy systems. Annually, there is a large NATO exercise in which soldiers from various NATO countries, France, Denmark, Belgium, Estonia, and the United Kingdom, used the new artificial intelligence technology when conducting live-fire drills. Dubbed Operation Cabrit, the British troops stationed in Estonia are using the AI to lead a multinational battle group, incorporating AI more closely into the military. Although this is the first use of artificial intelligence to scope out the terrain and help plan out more efficient procedures and courses, this is not the introduction of AI into the military. Other already established initiatives make use of the ever-advancing artificial intelligence, such as the Future Combat Air System and many funding programs through the Defense and Security Accelerator. The use of AI in the Army is another example of the field offering both promising and frightening developments. The use of artificial intelligence in more and more areas of our lives is a double-edged sword. Are we progressing towards a society helped by AI, or is this independent artificial intelligence becoming dangerous? But what do you make of these 3 AI discoveries? Are you for or against? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comments section below and help us by growing this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.